Hi, everybody. This is Virginia Milner coming to you from DeKalb County Library for the DeKalb County Library Foundation. And I have another what I think is a quite inspired tutorial for you today. I was kind of scouring YouTube, and those of you who follow my work know that I love fun links to make jewelry. And I saw some really neat things from Back to Earth Creations and Matt's Crazy Art and Liz Creed. Some of them years and years old. And I have kind of put together a lot of links that I've seen them do. What is the other one? There's another one, Sisters. I can't remember what they are, Three Girls or something, but they have a lot of fun links too. And I wanted to put a lot of them together into one piece of jewelry. I love doing things like that. No, I do not make up everything that I do. But what I like to do is spin it around, turn it upside down, let it land on its head, and make something hopefully new and inspired out of what I find. So I thought I would do that. And I really Matt's Crazy Art, he got me going on that. There is absolutely no reason why you have to be so symmetrical all the time. Some of the prettiest things come out of asymmetry, and that's what we're going to focus on today. We're going to make a bunch of different links, and we're going to put it all together into one necklace. And on top of that, I figured, well, if all of the links are going to be different, why does the wire have to be the same? The color of wire. It doesn't. So I'm going to be using two wire colors to make our links. I can't wait to get started. I've already started. I have this little chain of random links. And what I'm going to do is show you how to make each of them. So all you need is two colors of wire if you so desire. If you prefer to make it all one color, of course, that's fine too. And it's going to come out really pretty that way as well. But I'm using two different shades of wire. One is vintage copper and the other is silver. You choose your own colors of wire. Those of you who get kits will get two different colors of wire, and they're going to be several colors. And the tools that I'm going to be using are my standards, and I try to stick with the standards because I don't want you to feel like you need to go out and buy special tools. I want to keep this as simple as possible and show you how much you can do with just the basics. So we're going to start with round nose pliers, and they are called round nose because the barrels are completely round all the way around. And then we have square nose pliers or chain nose, whatever the brand is, they have different names for it, but it's square, slightly rounded on the outside, but on the inside it's completely flat. So that will square off your wire for you. And the third thing is cutters, and they do exactly what they say. They cut your wire. You'll also need a ruler, and I'm going to be using an assortment of beads. Again, those of you who have been following me for the last few weeks know that I have just moved, and in that move, I found lots and lots of beads that I had forgotten about. I'm reaching for a box now. That I had just not been using for whatever reason. So I'm going to be pulling them out for the kits. I have what I call my purple box, the green box, which is what I'm using today, my blue box, my salmon slash orange slash yellow box, my red box, black box, turquoise box, clear box. I've got so many different colors that I just want to use. And so those of you who get kits, you're going to benefit from things that I have not even thought to offer in way too long. Gorgeous things that are just sitting there in a box, and it's ridiculous. So enough of that. Oh, the last thing that you're going to need is jump rings to link everything together. So let's go ahead and get started because we have a lot of links to make. So let's see. These are the ones we're going to be doing. And as you can see, they are in different colors and they're very free form. There's nothing symmetrical about any of it. And let's just see what we can put together. So let's start with what looks like a little football. And what we're going to do is make that with a little, just a little orbital wire around it. So I did that one in silver, so I'm going to do this one in the copper. And you just want to estimate what it is that you need. I can look at this and you can use your ruler and determine that this is about 1 inch of wire on one side and 1 inch on the other side. That's 2. Then I need about 1/2 inch of wire for my loops and my one wrap on each side. So that's 3. And then I need about 1/2 inch of wire to go through my bead. And that's going to depend on the size of your bead. So figure out the size of your bead, how much wire needs to go through there, and then and then figure everything out from there. So it's going to be a lot of, to coin a word, guesstimation that you're doing this, but you can kind of determine just from putting it down on the ruler how much it looks like you'll use for this. I'm going to say 1 inch for this one side. So 1, 2. I'm going to give myself a full inch for this bead, even though I can see it's only half. So that's 3. And then each end would be 1/2 inch. So that's 4. I'm going to give myself 5 inches just to be safe. Because if I need to, I can just cut some of it off. But if you don't have enough, you're out of luck. You have to start over. So let's go ahead and do this one for starters. Okay, so I need 5 inches of wire. And let's see how much we have left when I'm finished, if any. All right, so what I'm going to do is slide my bead on. I'm going to go right down to the center, and I'm just going to eyeball where the center is, or if you're not comfortable with that, go ahead and measure it on your ruler. So I'm going to bend off to one side on one end, and then the other side on the other end. So I have this. And then I'm going to take my pliers. I just need a small loop. So I'm going to go down about 1/3 of the way down my pliers, wrap the tail of my wire over the top of my pliers and down the side, like so. And then I'm going to bring the tail the rest of the way under and rotate my pliers so that my loop is right on top of the bead. I want it nice and close to my bead. And I'm going to bring this down a little bit closer, see if we can get a better look here. That's a little close. And so there's my loop right on top there. I'm getting some serious glare. I might need a little less light than I have. Let's see if we can turn this one off. See what happens. We can get to it. If I can get to the off button. Sorry about that. Oh, let's try that. Okay. Let's see if that works. Okay, so there's my loop right there on top of my bead. Ugh, I cannot see. Sorry, trying to get the lining together here. There. Okay. Let's go to the other side and do that again. Slide my wire about 1/3 of the way down my pliers, right about there. And like I always say, all pliers aren't created equal. So you can just kind of look at the barrel and determine how big that loop is going to be. And that's going to take a little bit of practice. So for me, it goes 1/3 of the way down my pliers. I'm going to bring the tail of my wire over the top of my pliers and down the side. And then I'm going to roll my loop until it's right on top of my pliers, nice and close. So now this is what I have. I want to check my loops. This loop seems to be a little bit bigger than the other one, so I'm going to go back in and pull that extra space out so that they're both the same size. And so they're my loops. Okay, so now, in order to get the orbital effect that I want, straighten that, there we go. I'm going to bring the wire down the side, but I'm not going to come close to the bead. I'm just going to hover over it. Just bring this down the side like so. Just like that. Then I'm going to wrap the tail around once around my loop. Now, I need to hold on to this because if I don't, it can get pulled closed. So I need to hold on to my wire while I wrap the tail around my loop one time. It just needs to be once. Nice and snug. Because I have a little bit extra, I may as well go ahead and take it around another half a time. Why not? Yeah, I don't need to do that. Let's go ahead and cut it off. And I always like to cut it off in the center of my loop because that way I know it won't be sticking out on the sides and ready to snag on anything or catch on my skin. Scratch me, scratch my clothes, nothing like that. Cut that off. Get rid of that end and push down that little tip. Nice and close to my loop. Make sure nothing's sticking out there. Nice and smooth. Then go to the other side. See, I have my little orbit around my bead. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just like that. And this is free form, so it may not look exactly like the other side, but here's a beauty in asymmetrics. Holding on to my wire that's on the side here so that it doesn't pull closed, I'm going to wrap that tail around my loop. Nice and close. And I'm going to cut off the end. Let's cut that tail off. Get rid of that end and push the little tip down against the other wires. I always run my finger over it because if I can't feel it, I know it's as close as it's going to get. Get down there. There we go. And so there is my little orbited bead. And then you can use your fingers to kind of shape it if it needs to be shaped anymore. But there's my first little link. Nice. Okay, so that's link number one. Let's move on to this little crazy guy right there. So for that, I have several beads, and I just want to let you know that I'm using chip beads, and these are crystal chips. Chips of any type are very unstable because of the way they're just little tiny chips and they have a hole in them, so that it's easy enough for them to break. But this, and I did break one. I had another one that I broke, but this little link is so different that you can't really tell that one of the beads is missing because of the way it's made. So that is, for one thing, the beauty of chips and the beauty of this particular type of link. So let's go ahead and make whatever that guy is. And I'm going to make that one, since that one's in copper, I'm going to make the next one in silver. So how much do I need? Let's see. So I can see one of these little edges takes about 3/8 of an inch, not quite a half. So the other side is also going to be 3/8. So I'm going to say 3/4 for the first one. This one's a little bit bigger, so that's about an inch. So I'm going to look 1 inch and 3/4, 2 1/4 inches on each side. So that's 4. Let me see, 2, 4 1/2, just for my little outside. And then I need about an inch going through. That's 5 1/2, and an inch for both sides, 1/2 inch on each side. So that's 4 1/2, 5 1/2, 6 1/2. Is that right? 3/4, 1. Let me see. Quarter, 1/4, so 1 1/2, 2, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to give myself 7 inches just to be safe. I would not, as you can see on this other one, I ended up cutting off 2 inches. So that 6 inches I gave myself was way too much, or 5 inches or whatever I gave. It was way too much, but I would rather cut off and not have enough and have to start all over. That's never much fun. So let's get some wire. Giving myself 7 inches on this one. I would say each of your lengths is probably an average of 6. Those of you who get kits will have about 2 1/2 or about 3 yards of wire in total, about an inch and about 1.25 to 1.5 for each color. Okay, so 7 inches is what I need. Let's cut that off. And let's see what we can do with this. So I need several chips. There's the little opening. Where are you? There it is. Oh my goodness. It's trying to go in there, but it doesn't. What is happening? Maybe you should try the other side. Oh, that wasn't the hole. That's why, that's why I was trying to poke it through something that wasn't even the drill part. Okay, now see, that is right on the corner. Do I think that's going to hold up? Probably not, but let's do it anyway. It's all about the length. The bead is really just holding it up. Okay. Oh, Lord. Yay. Here we go. Another one. We can find the opening. There it is. Okay, I think that's enough for that side. And I'm going to put on this pretty little rondelle. And let's get a couple more beads on the other side of it. Nice. There are you, drill. Okay. Okay, let's check this, see if it looks compatible to this one. Yes, I do believe it is. All right, so again, I'm going to go right down. Oh, and these are very, very thinly drilled, so they don't like any bends in the wire. Okay, let's go down to the center of the wire again. I'm just gonna guess where my center is. That looks good. I'm gonna bend the wire to one side, on the one side, on the one end, and to the other side on the other end. Okay. And let's make a loop. Again, I'm going about a third of the way down my pliers. Make a little loop on top. My loop is over to the side, so I'm going to roll it until it's on top of my beads, just like that. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Same placement on my pliers. Oh, look at that. Broken bead. Don't care. So let's roll that down until it's centered on top of my beads. Oh my gosh, I just love it when these things happen on camera, because then people go, see, that could have happened to me and I wouldn't have known what to do. Well, now you know what to do. Just keep going. I don't really care if it broke or not. The focus is the link. Ugh, pull it tight. Okay, yes, there we go. So there's my loop. And so now I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is make my little zigzag. I'm just going to bend just like that. And you can use your pliers to do this if you don't want to use your fingernails. Just make another little bend just under the first bead, or the first set of beads in this case. And then make another bend in the middle of the second bead, just like so. And let's make another bend. And bend it right there at the top. And that's what I have. Now this one is a little sharper. So I'm going to take my pliers. I'm going to squeeze that so it's a little less rounded and a little sharper. There we go. That's the one side. As you can see, I have way too much wire. 7 inches was a bit much. So what I'm going to do is take this tail and just wrap it around the loop, just like I did on the other link. Wrap it around one time, clip that tail off so that the end is right in the middle of my loop, right there. And push that little end down against the bottom of the loop. There we go. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Do not worry about symmetry. The whole point of this is free form. So, I mean, because I could have done 3 on this side and 2 on this side. It doesn't matter if they're the exact same. It really does not. This is your artistic vision. And right now, it's my artistic vision. Okay, there we go. And another one here. Boop, like that. And last but not least, squeeze that in a little bit. Yeah. And the last one right at the top. Squeeze. And there's my other side. So let's go ahead and finish it off by wrapping that tail. And again, I'm holding on to this because I don't want it to pull over too far. So I'm holding it in place where I want it to stay. And I just wrap that tail around my loop. Let's push that down. Be careful of my chips. I do not want to break another one if I could possibly avoid it. Wrap that around. I want that nice and close. Nice and snug. Clip that off right there in the middle of my loop. And push that tail down. Yeah. Awesome. So that is my companion to this one. Next. All right, so now we're going to do this one. That's pretty. It's really the same as this, except that we're just using several beads instead of one. We're stacking our beads. Okay, so I need about 1 inch of wire to go through the beads, about 1 inch on each side, maybe 1 inch and 1/8. So that's 2 1/4, 3 1/4, and 1/2 inch on each side. So 4 1/4. I'm going to give myself 5 just to be safe. So 5 inches. Okay. Oh, wait. I need copper for this one. 5 inches, 5 inches. Okay, let's grab my beads. Got one of these glass beads, rounds. Another one of my little purple rondelles. And I put the purple in here just to have some contrast against all of the lime green. That is a lot of lime. Okay, slide it down to the center, just like with all of the others. Make a bend on one side and a bend on the other side in the opposite direction. Make my loops, just like I did before with the others. Wrap that partially around. And then rotate it the rest of the way to get it centered on top of my beads. Just like so. Go to the other side and do the same thing. Make that around. And the side of my beads. And rotate until I have a nice loop on top. These should be opposite. is what this wire is very malleable, so you can just adjust it and manipulate it the way you want it to go. So here we go. So now I'm going to make my little orbit just like I did with the other one. So you can either put your pliers back in there just to hold the loop in place and just bring that around the side like so, not touching the beads, just hovering just beyond them. Then I'm going to hold on to my wire so it stays in place and wrap that tail around my loop one time, one full rotation. Get it nice and snug. Flip off that tail and push down the little end. Snug into my loop. Tuck that right in. And let's do that on the other side. Let's bring that around. Like so. Hold on to my wire on the side so it doesn't shift and wrap that tail around my loop. It's for tail, so let's use my pliers. Okay, let's get that a little more snug. And then clip off that little end that's left. And push down the tip. And there we have it. You can shape it with your fingers if you need to. There it is. Nice. Next is this simple little wrap. I'm just going to use this 5 inches that I had already cut for the other one. Grab my green bead, slide it down to center. This is becoming a habit. Slide it down to the center, bend the wire back in opposite directions on each side. It could be a little closer. There we go. Make my loop. Oh, you know what? Actually, I didn't need as much because I only have one little thing going down the side there, but that's okay. Make my little loop. Make my loop on the other side. Same way we've done all along. Okay. And then I just need one of these tails. The other one can just wrap around. I'll wrap the shortest one around one time. And again, I know you're used to wrapping 2 or 3 times around, but it's just not necessary. And since I'm wrapping from both ends, I don't want too much wrap on there. I want it to be a little neater. Okay, I'm going to clip off that. Yeah, look at all that wire I just cut off. Hate it. Push down that little end, nice and snug. And now I'm going to do a little swirly thing down here. So I'm just going to hold on to my loop so that it doesn't pull. And then I'm just gonna kind of swirl this around and wrap it around my loop. Oops, you know what I better do? I should give it one wrap around my loop just to be safe. It does need a little bit of wrap. And then I'm going to take it down the side. Straighten that out a little more. There we go. And now let's take it down the side. swirl it around, bring it back up, and wrap it around my loop. Here we go. Clip that tail off. And push down. Oops, get off of there. And push down that end. So there I have that. Cute little swirly. To go with this cute little swirly. Next, what is this? Looks like Judy Jetson. The other one looked like the Abominable Snowman or something. Okay. So it looks like about 1 inch, 2 inches, 3 inches. I'm going to give myself 3.5, 4.5, 5.5. So let's say 6 inches, maybe 6.5 inches, just to be cautious. So 6.5 inches. There's okay, and what have I got here? 3 beads. I've got a rondelle, a round, and another rondelle. Stack them up. Let's go down to the center of my wire. And again, you can use your ruler and actually measure it if you want to. It's entirely up to you. I'm just kind of guesstimating. This is freeform. Bend it off to the sides. Make a loop on each side, like we've been doing all along. Nothing new to see here. Okay. And same on the other side. Nice little loop. There we go. This one's a little bigger than that one, so let's go back in and get rid of that excess. There's a little excess space in there, so I'm just gonna pull my wire till that space gets smaller. And my loops match better. Yes, that's better. Okay, now let's make Judy Jetson's dress. So this one just has 2 little things on it. So give it a nice bend. I'm gonna see just about where I went. Yeah, about 1/4 of an inch from the bead. And give it a bend like so. And another bend right in the middle of the second bead like that. Where's my light? Okay, there it is. Oh, I have a lot of shadow. I hope you've been able to see. I turned off that other light because I thought I had some glare. Put it back on. Okay, I'm getting glare, but hopefully you aren't. Okay, let's put another bend right in the middle of that top bead, like so. Be a little sharper. I'm going to use my pliers to squeeze it. Here we go. Very, very strange. Okay. And let's wrap that tail around the loop. Hold on to that so it doesn't disappear on me. Push that down, nice and close. Wrap that around. and cut off the end. Let's get that tail cut. And push down that little bit. So I have 1/2 of Judy Jetson. Let's do the other side. Again, does not need to be symmetrical. You'll drive yourself crazy if you try to make it perfect, because it's not meant to be. Sharper in there. Okay, go down to the middle of the second bead and put another little bend in it. Boom. And then another bend at the top. Sharpen that up. Okay, and there's the other side. Let's wrap that around the other loop. Holding on to this because I don't want to, if I don't hold on to it, it's going to pull as soon as I try to wrap it around the bead. So holding it so that it stays in place. And let's wrap that around the bead, or around the loop, I guess I should say, one good time. So nice and close. And cut off that end. Push down that little nub there. And what do I have? Here comes Judy. Do, 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 do. There she is. Judy Jetson. Okay. And what else do I have on here? Okay. This one is the same as this one, except that it's a double swoop. So let's do that. Oh, and I didn't have this shape. I'm going to try to find one, but it'll be just as pretty. All right. So what do I need? I need about 1 inch, 2, 3, 4. Give myself 5 full inches. I think what I should tell you is when you're doing something like this, with things on the ends, just measure whatever it is you need on those ends and then add that to the side. So for this one, I think I need about 2 inches. And then I need a 1/2 inch on each side. So that's 3 inches. So I need a good 1.5 inches on each side of my bead, plus whatever the bead is. So that's 1, 2, 3.5, 4.5. I'm giving myself 5 inches just to be safe. Don't need to have to, I don't mind cutting a little bit off. I'd rather not cut a whole lot off, but I also don't want to have to start over if I don't have enough. Okay, bend and bend and loop. Be a little closer. Loop. And loop. All right. And now I'm going to bring this down the side or down the front, just like I did with the other one. Let's bring that down the front like so. A little swirl across the front. And then wrap it around the opposite loop. Flip off that tail. Flip off the tail. Tuck that end under. Tuck that in nice and close. Get it there. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same with this one. Now you could go down the other side if you wanted, but I'm going to bring them both down the same side. I'm going to bring that down beside the other one, wrap it around the opposite loop. And snip it off. And as you can see, I had a good 1.5 inches of wire more than I needed. And there we go. Pretty. I think I have one more. And this is just a very basic wrap. This is a cracked bead, a crackle bead. And I didn't want to put anything else on it. I just want to leave it the way it is. And that's what I'm going to do. So silver. I just noticed I did these both in the same color, which is not bad. I might change it later, but not going to worry about that right now. Let's make my little basic wrap, which is just going to be 1/2 inch to go through the bead, 1/2 inch on each side for my loops. So that's 2 inches. Give myself 3 just to be safe. It's a very basic wrapped loop. That just went flying across the room. All right. Feed that through my bead. Oh, that's tight. Wow. Straighten that out. Does not like any bends. It's very, this one seems to be very thinly drilled. So any bends in the wire, and it's going to protest. Where is it? There it is. Oh my. Goodness gracious. Oh, I might have to get another one. There we go. Let's go. Get in there. Goodness gracious. Okay, there we go. All right, down to the center. Bend the wire back on both sides like we've been doing all along. Wrap them around those pliers, make a loop. And just wrap it. I'm going to wrap it twice because I have enough wire to do so. 1 and 2 and cut and tuck. Same thing on the other side. Wrap. And wrap that around. And I'm just going to leave the pliers in the loop to do it this time so you can see a different way to wrap it. Wrap it around. I don't like to do this at first because I know you can't see what I'm doing with the pliers in the way. Okay, wrap that around. Rip off that tail and push down the tip. And that's it. That matches. So the last thing I'm going to show you, because we're going to make our own clasp. This is what I'm using to hook the clasp into, and it's the exact same way that we did this one, just smaller. So I'm not going to show that again. So this is going to be my hook, my loop for my hook. And let me show you how to make the hook so that it looks like the rest of the necklace. So this is going to be the one half of my clasp, and I'm going to make this into the hook part of my clasp. And in order to do that, I'm going to go opposites. I don't know what that was, a little something. I'm going to make an orbital loop around my bead, just like I did with this, and one side's going to have a loop, but the other side's going to have a hook on it for my clasp. So how much do I need? I'm going to give myself a good 2 inches for the hook part, 2 inches, and then a 1/2 inch for my loop, so that's 2 1/2, and an inch each for the orbit, so that's 3 1/2, 4 1/2, and a 1/2 inch, because this is not very big, to go through my bead. So that's 5 inches. I'm going to give myself 6 just to be safe and cautious. Okay, so 6 inches of wire. Now, I want to make an orbit, so I know that the actual hook part is going to take 2 inches, and then I need the orbit part. That's going to be another inch. So I'm going to give myself 3 inches on one side, which is half of my wire. So just to be frugal, I'm going to go ahead and do the loop side first. That's going to take 1.5 inches, 2 inches. 2 inches for that. So I'm going to go ahead and bend my wire back, make a loop. Just like I've been doing all along. Put my bead on. It's a nice little loop. Slide on my bead, slide my bead on the long wire. Go ahead and make a bend. Yeah, a bend back for my hook. And I'm just going to leave that like that for the minute. So now what I want to do, you know what, I don't need to bend that back. Since I'm going to go ahead and make my hook, I don't need to try to hold the bead on. So I'm going to bend my wire down here at the inch mark. Give myself an inch of wire. I'm going to fold my wire over to the side, like so. And I'm going to squeeze those 2 lengths of wire as close together as I can get with my fingers, and then use my pliers to finish it off, but I want them as close as I can get to side by side. Would have been easier to do this part first, but I didn't. So now what I want to do is go down here about an eighth of an inch away from my bead. Remember, these are side by side, not on top of each other. I'm going to bend my wire up like so. And I'm going to wrap the wire around the folded wire one full time. As a matter of fact, I have enough so I can go one more full time or a half time, 1.5 times, just like so. So I have one wire sticking out one side and one out the other side. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to bring this around and make my little orbit, just like I did on the other one. So there's my little orbit around my bead. You can see it's just hovering around the side. I'm going to hold on to the side of my wire so that this won't close up. Hold that. And you can hold it with the pliers if you want. And then wrap that tail around my loop. Nice and close. Squeeze it close with my pliers. And clip off that tail. A little tighter. Clip off that tail. And push the end down. Close to the loop. There we go. And let's orbit the other side. You can shape this with your fingers just to make it a little easier to get your little orbit going. And then bring it around. And see how this is a slightly sharper bend than the other one? I can use my flat pliers to straighten that out a little bit so that it's not quite as sharp. There we go. There's my little orbit. And now I'm going to wrap that tail around the base of what's going to be my hook. Let's wrap that around. I'm going to wrap that around 1.5 times because I'm going to put it under where my hook is going to be so that this end is hidden under there and it can't catch on anything. Snip that off so that this rests right in between the two wires here. Push that down nice and close. And now this little end is going to be underneath my hook. No chance that it can catch on my clothes or my skin or my neck, or wherever it's going to end up. And so there's my little orbit, and let's make our hook. So what I'm going to do, let's straighten that out a little bit. Nice and tidy. So I'm going to grab my round nose pliers, and I'm going to slide these two ends of wire all the way down. I'm going to put this really close and hope that I don't lose camera range. So I'm going to slide this folded wire all the way down to the back of my pliers. I'm going to leave a little bit of the tip out so that I can have a little, like a duck bill on the end of my loop. And then I'm going to rotate my pliers and just keep rotating until I have a hook. So there's my hook. Then I'm going to go to the back, the base of my hook, and I'm going to bend the wire back just a little bit to create a little neck. So now I have a little neck back here. See? And then last but not least, I'm going to take the tip of my pliers. It can be the tip of your round nose, your square nose, whichever you prefer. And I'm going to go right down here to the base of the fold of my wire. And I'm just going to give it a little tweak. Make that a little clearer up here. I'm going to bend it up just like so that now I have a little bill on the end. And there's my hook. There's my clasp, the other half of my clasp. That's going to hook right into this half. Neat, huh? I love it. I love it when my clasps look like the rest of the piece. Now we have to hook everything together. Okay, let's do it. Let's get everything put together. You go here. You go here. So this is going to be the other side. Okay. That goes there. That goes there. That goes there, and this goes here. And I'm going to change this because this is the same color as this, and I want them alternating, but I can change that in a minute. So the first thing I'm going to do is put these together. Show you how to put them together. So let's grab some jump rings. And the proper way to open a jump ring is to find your opening. There's my opening. Put one plier on the side beside the opening, and I can take my thumb and just push down on the other side, and that opens it up nice and neat. So I now have a nice open jump ring. And another way to do it is to find my opening again. There it is. Put the pliers on one side, grab a second pair of pliers, put that on the other side, and just twist it. And now it's open, nice and neat. And it'll be easy to close back up again. So let's start hooking these pieces together. So I'm going to take one jump ring. I'm going to slide it in the bead loop. I'm going to grab the next bead and slide it in the jump ring as well. And I'm going to close it up. Just twist the jump ring closed, just like that. Now I like to double my jump rings so I don't have to worry about one of them failing in any way. And I think it looks better. I think it's just very pretty to have two jump rings so that it looks like more of part of the pattern than just functional. It looks pretty too. So I'm going to string that through one bead and come back up and string it through the other bead. And notice how I am not engaging the other jump ring. These are supposed to be completely separate. If they get tangled, your necklace, your links won't hold right. Then I'm going to twist this closed and make sure that the ends are completely flush together. And there's my link. And let's do another one. It's already open. Grab my jump ring, slide it on one bead. Oops, wrong one. Slide it on one bead. Grab the next bead, which is this guy right here. Slide that on. Close my jump ring. Grab my second jump ring. slide it in the bead loop, come up and around and slide it in the next bead loop. Please do not catch the other jump ring in this jump ring. And close. And there are my other links. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and finish linking the rest of these together off camera, save a little time, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what we have. See you in a minute. Hey, here it is. Here is our piece. Isn't that cute? I love it. Okay, I need to tell you that I made another bead down here for the center because these two were going to go together and I thought they needed to be divided. So what I did was do the same thing I did for this one, except that I used several beads instead of just one and wrapped it around those beads. But it's the same way we did this one, just wrapped around 3 instead of one long one. I wrapped it around 3 small ones. I also found another one of this shape and did it in the right color. So I found another one of this shape so that I could make them kind of sort of match. Here is our avant-garde, this way, avant-garde necklace. Ladies and gentlemen, there it is, made from random links. And look at that, you can't even tell that this is a clasp. I love that probably more than anything. I can wear this anyway. I can put this in the front and nobody would know that they were looking at the clasp just because of the way it's made. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. All right. Abominable Snowman, Judy Jetson. I've got orbits. Oh, a lot of this has a space theme, doesn't it? Okay, let's put this on a large display so that you can see what it looks like on the big screen. There it is. There's our piece. Oh, I love it. I love it. Ah, so much fun. I am going to do this again because there are so many different links that I would love to put together into a piece, and I just couldn't get them all in here. So I will be doing something like this again at some point in time. But in the meantime, this is our little statement necklace that we've made out of random links, random freeform, freestyle links. Here it is. And like I said, you can turn this any way you want because since we made our own clasp, it doesn't matter. And since all of them are different, even though we've made corresponding links in different colors, it doesn't matter. This is so awesome. Don't you love it? I know I did. Anyway, there's our necklace, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Please let me know one way or the other. Get in contact with me at jewelrygin20@gmail.com. That's JEWELRYGIN20@gmail.com. Or leave a comment on the library Facebook page, which is facebook.com/DeKalb Library. That's facebook.com/DEKALBLIBRARY. Let's scroll down, find the comment section for this particular necklace. And if you keep scrolling, you'll find all of the tutorials that I've done in there. And there are a lot. It's been years. So get in touch with us. Post pictures of what you make. Send me pictures on my email. I would love to see them. And as always, these tutorials are free to you, sponsored by the DeKalb County Library Foundation. We want you to enjoy the library and everything it has to offer. So these are free to you. The kits, for those of you who get them, are also free. There are a limited supply of them that will be available at Toco Hills Library, DeKalb Library, Clarkston Library, and um, North Lake Library. Call ahead, check, make sure that they're there, and get on in there and get your free kit and follow along and make one of these, and then show me what you did. I would love, love, love to see it. So until next time, have a great week. Enjoy the rest of your week, and your weekend, and we will see you later. Bye bye.